that this is exactly the process of the Tkiyah, the shofar blowing on Rosh HaShannah, that we start with the Tkiyah Shivarim Teruah, Tkiyah. We go to Shivarim Teruah, which is that struggle, and then we end with Tkiyah, again on the note of joy. And that is the essence, that's the rhythm that makes the holiday what it is. The essential practice of Rosh Hashanah, really the mark of the day is the blowing and the hearing the blowing of the shofar. And we'll jump into the Slonimer here and learn a little bit about it. I just wanted to, for those of you who have the Slonimer and would like to follow along, we are going to be reading from Netivot Shalom. It's volume Bet. This is a volume on the holidays, and we're on page Kuf Chaf Vav, 126, in the middle of the page where it says Tkiyah v'Teruah. And we know that the instructions, the styles of blowing the shofar go Tkiyah Shivarim Teruah, Tkiyah, etc. We've heard that often, over and over, year after year in the synagogue. What is Tkiyah and what is Teruah, and what is the deeper message? Let's jump right into to the Slonimer. כי תבואו מלחמה בארצכם על הצער הצורר אתכם, והרעותם בחצוצרות. And he's quoting here from the Chumash. When you come, when a war begins in your land, and you are in defense, you're in war against an enemy. At that time, you will blow hareotem, which is from the word teruah. You will blow the horns. וביום שמחתכם ובמועדיכם ותקעתם בחצוצרות. And elsewhere in the book of Numbers, Bamidbar Yud, it says, and on the day of your rejoicing and your holidays, ותקעתם בחצוצרות, from the word tekiyah, and you will blow your horns. הנה יש בית ענייני tekiyah. There are two types of a blowing of a horn. Inyan Aleph ki tavo milchama be'artzachem. The first kind of blowing is a blowing in the context of war. כשהמלחמה בתוך ארצכם בחינת דברי ריבות בשעריך. When you're specifically when the war is on your land. This is not the war of going out and conquering, hitting the enemy and, in its on its own turf. But when the war comes to your land, and this is significant, and we'll see why. בחינת דברי ריבות בשעריך. הוא האויב שבתוך עצמותיכם ואתם צריכים לגרשו. This is the kind of struggle that is within your gates. And how does he interpret that? This is the enemy that is within your bones or within your essence. In other words, it's an internal enemy. ואתם צריכים לגרשו. And it's your job to shoo the enemy away. ואז תוקעים ומרים בתורת הכרזת מלחמה. And then we blow in the sense of meri'im, teruah. You see, that's the kind of blow that we call here teruah. בתורת הכרזת מלחמה לגרש האויב הצר הצורר אתכם. As is instructed about an enemy, a real war, when an enemy is invading your own territory. So he's making here the connection. In other words, he's telling us that the blowing of a horn for war is really a metaphor for blowing of the shofar to do the kind of internal cleansing or internal battle that we need to do within our own bones, our own essence. The word etzem in Hebrew means both bone, the skeletal structure, and essence, the core of one's, being. עוד יש עניין ב' של תקיעה בעת הכתרת המלך. But there's another kind of blowing of the horn called tekiah. בעת הכתרת המלך, at the time of the crowning of a king. שמקבלים בשמחה את המלוכה. That we are expressing our rejoicing about the kingship. So this is like inauguration day, and we're, it's a big moment. A new king, a new ruler is being starting their tenure. ובבחינת וביום שמחתכם ובמועדיכם ותקעתם חצוצרות. And this is referring to the verse that we read before in Bamidbar, that in Numbers, that on the day of your rejoicing and the day of your holidays you will tokea, tekiah. V'lachen, let me just parenthetically say that hachtarat hamelech, the Sonomer earlier, I think in the previous video, I talked about that really has to do with, it's a metaphor for the knowledge, for spiritual knowledge. So when we crown, first of all, the crown is right over the head, so that's the area of knowledge. And the crowning of the king is bringing ourselves into the knowledge of all, into wisdom. So let's remember that, because I think it's going to be informative as we continue here in connection with with the shofar. All right, so let's continue. ולכן בתקיעה על צער הצורר כתיב לשון והריעותם. And when we blow the horn at the time of war, or the time of battle with an enemy, external or internal, we say v'hari'otem from the word teruah, because it has the sound genuchei ganach v'ilulei yalil. It has the sound of a sigh and a moan and a groan, actually. There's an effort there. There's a sadness. There's an anxiety in it. גנוחי גנח וילולי יליל. אבל ביום שמחתכם, כתיב ותקעתם, לשון תקיעה. But on the day of rejoicing, where we're blowing the horn to express the ecstatic, cathartic expression of joy, then we call that tekiah. ותקעתם, לשון תקיעה של שמחה וניצחון. And ובין בחינות הללו גם יחד יש בתקיעת שופר של ראש השנה. And both those aspects are included in the blowing of the shofar in Rosh HaShannah. What are those aspects? יש בבחינת עקירת הרע, לגרש האויב הפנימי מתוך עצמותו. It has the aspect of the uprooting of evil or malice. In other words, we are chasing away the internal enemy, which is in our essence, atzmuto, in our bones. And there's also the aspect of recrowning the king all over. Every year we recrown the king. We reinstate our covenant, our spiritual commitment to knowledge, to wisdom, to connection with the divine. We remember our essence, our capacity and our potential to really be open to the ultimate potential and ultimate purpose of life. The Kabbalat Ol Malchuto b'simcha v'ratzon. When we do that, we take upon us the Ol Malchuto, literally translates the yoke of his kingdom. But again, remember that Hachtarat HaMelech is the coming into knowledge, right? So we take on the seriousness and the commitment to the spiritual knowledge, b'simcha v'ratzon, in will and joy. And in that order, because after we cleanse out, we clear away the internal enemy, then we're able to fill that space with with the crown, with the spiritual crown, with the spiritual essence, which is here expressed with the word melech, king. And thus we infuse every part of our body with the Holy One's presence. And this is the essence of tikiyah in teruah. Teruah, to chase away the distractions, the inner distractions, cleanse away, clear, purify, right? And tikiyah for filling that space with the fullness of our spiritual potential. What a beautiful teaching, isn't it? What a deep understanding of the different qualities and the different vibrational purpose of the sound of the same instrument. Mizmor Shir Chanukat Habayit LeDavid. What are the acronym that the first letters of each one of those words makes? So let's listen to this. Mizmor, so it's a mem. Shir, it's a shin. Chanukat is a chet, and habayit is a hey. And if you put those together, scramble a little bit, you get simcha, get joy. שורשי התיבות שמחה, מתחיל בשמחה ומסיים בשמחה. You start with simcha and you end with simcha. So the psalm, this is the beginning of Chanukat Habayit LeDavid, of the psalm. It doesn't say which, and I couldn't tell you because I don't have it committed to memory. But the psalm begins on a note of joy, continues in the middle of it on a note of concern and anxiety, and ends on the note of joy. Let me just translate here. מתחיל בשמחה ומסיים בשמחה. פתחת שקי ותעזרני שמחה. That's the opening. You take my grief away and you fill me with joy. ובאמצע כל השתפכות הנפש והמרירות. In the middle there's this sort of catharsis of spilling one's heart out with bitterness and complaint. אלך אדוני אקרא ואל אדוני אתחנן, מה בצע בדמי ברדתי אל שחת, היותך עפר יגיד עמיתך. All these, life is so hard. כי ההתחלה צריכה להיות בשמחה, והסוף בשמחה. כמו דכתוב, עבדו את השם בשמחה, וכל התוכחה היא תחת אשר לא עבדת את השם אלוהיך בשמחה. And as the sages, implore us, עבדו את השם בשמחה, worship, practice, do your spiritual work with joy. You could say on the Day of Judgment, in Rosh HaShannah, is how come you've been so religious without any joy? You get that? This is where spirituality morphs into religion. I want to say this with respect, but for those, especially for those of us, including myself, who take religion seriously. But religion is really an ossified, it's a frozen form of a real warm, flowing, sounding, vibrating spirituality that is based on joy. So what are we being judged for? We're being judged for turning our religion into some kind of mechanical, rote practice and forgetting or veering away from the essence of it, which is joy. And sure, on the way, as we walk our life's path, there are the moments of bitterness, and there are the times where we need to just just let it be known and expressed and acknowledged and speak to God, speak to the universe, or speak to friends, all of the above, and say, "Oi, this is hard." Because he says, "Ki adam asur sheyechi kevehema bli dat cheshbono ba'olam." Because a person needs to be self-reflecting and soul-searching, and there's a little bit of an agony that goes with that. And he tells us that this is exactly the process of the Tekiyah, the shofar blowing on Rosh HaShannah, that we start with the Tekiyah Shivarim Teruah Tekiyah. We go to Shivarim Teruah, which is that struggle, and then we end with Tekiyah, again on the note of joy. And that is the essence, that's the rhythm that makes the holiday what it is. With that, I want to wish us all a really good New Year, a good Rosh Hashanah. May we all travel the journey from joy through the challenges, the ups and the downs, but don't miss the destiny or the destination, which is reclaiming joy. Start with joy and end with joy. May you all be so blessed. Shana Tova, Tichatev Tichatenu. Shalom. Please subscribe by clicking the red button below. Like, share, comment. It is great to have you here. See you later.